You know, as we do each and every weekday, we broadcast live to you and then we clip out segments. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. But Mondays, we connect with William Kelly, reporter out of Chicago, to get perspective of what's going on in Chicago. And if you look at some of the news headlines just in the past weekend, 18 people shot, you've got one fatally, you've got police warning residents in Chicago about everything from hammers being used to break into retail stores, to restaurant robberies, to individuals being held at gunpoint and robbed. So the news headlines out of Chicago, not pretty at all. William here with Bishop on Air sounds off on some of the latest that he's hearing.
Well, as if the migrant crisis wasn't enough, migrant apocalypse is what I'm hearing from the people of Chicago and my sources in law enforcement. In fact, I spoke with a national source with the National Sheriff's Association who said there are 2 million suspected terrorists in the that cross the border into the United States of America. So, this is crime and violence is a major concern. 16 people shot in Chicago this weekend alone. Any of that would be a problem, right? Any of that would be a reason to cancel the Super Bowl, in theory, right? But my question or I always focus on one story, one person, one victim. And there was a woman who was killed by a out of control, once again, all the drivers in Chicago are out of control. I get it. It's out of control. Greg, what can you do, right? No license plates, no seat belts, no speed limits. But one out of control driver in particular killed a woman going the wrong way, speeding the wrong way down the bike lane. And he was found innocent by reason of insanity, Greg. By this measure, I suppose half the drivers in Chicago now are innocent, can kill anyone they want, apparently. So there's as a lifelong Chicagoan, as somebody who not only reports the news but lives here and loves Chicago, it absolutely breaks my heart to see this. And no sooner are these violent offenders arrested by the CPD, and it's so easy to get frustrated. But the CPD is out there every day, making these arrests, and then these violent offenders, repeat violent offenders, most of whom are armed, okay, with if not handguns, long guns, right back out on the street, committing the exact same crimes with 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 firearms, and we don't see um, any actual plan to or any leadership in the city of Chicago, the state of Illinois. In fact, from what my own experience, the only punishable offense in the city of Chicago currently is to ask an elected official a question. That is the one thing that will get you punished in the city of Chicago right now, Greg.
So again, talking with William Kelly earlier today, sharing some of his thoughts. He's been prohibited from going into mayoral news conferences, but I asked him also about just the overall trajectory of crime and punishment. You've got the Cook County prosecutor that's going to be switching over. A couple of Democrats are looking to replace Kim Foxx. But you have, the Safety Act and the Pretrial Fairness Act and things along those lines that seem to be really impacting crime and punishment altogether. Kelly sounds off on some of that.
Well, it's not just a Chicago or Cook County thing anymore, Greg, as you well know. This is statewide. I'll be in Springfield on the 21st, February 21st. So it's coming up real quick for the State of the State address to hear what, the many accomplishments of Governor Pritzker. While I'm in town, I plan to moderate a debate. I've been asked to moderate a number of debates, Republican primary debates in particular around the state of Illinois. On the 21st, I'll be in Springfield to moderate a debate between incumbent state rep um, Dennis Tipsword and his challenger, Donald Right. Okay. That's the 105th state rep district. It's an interesting race because the incumbent, Tipsword, was the co-sponsor of a bill uh, to allow non-citizens to have guns and badges. Okay, arresting powers over American citizens. So, you ask, do people in Chicago, Cook County, feel that that they're safe? Well, I can tell you, not one of them would feel safer knowing that non-citizens are carrying guns and badges, Greg.
Well, and then you have the Democratic National Convention coming up in August in Chicago, where it was thought there was going to be some free speech zones in the area to keep protesters from getting too close to the convention. But last week it was revealed that, that apparently some I's were not dotted and T's not crossed properly. So there are going to be protesters right up at the doors of the convention. While the proceedings of the convention are going to be televised, just how much are we going to see of the protests?
Yeah. Well, the whole world will be watching, right, Greg? It's really, you have to ask yourself, how did the city of Chicago allow a group called the Poor People's Army to get access to protest right on the front door step of the DNC in the city of Chicago in August of this year? It is this just a was this just a clerical error, or was it intentional? I mean, who knows at this point? It's sad because there are so many inexplicable mistakes happening in the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois that you can't leave. You can't, I guess, take anything, rule out any possible explanation. But yeah, a group called the Poor People's Army will be protesting at the DNC, right up on the doorstep. So you can, if you come to Chicago to cover the DNC, Greg, I recommend that you wear a helmet.
William Kelly, reporter out of Chicago, greatly appreciate him taking this time with us each and every Monday. We'll hear from him again, obviously, next week, as we get ready for the governor's State of the State and budget address, which is going to be at the State House on Wednesday. Now, legislative action not happening this week at the State House. They're off this week, coming back next week, and we'll obviously be monitoring all that happens there. Greatly appreciate you guys being here each and every weekday morning. Again, follow me anywhere. Just search Bishop on Air. Again, Bishop on Air everywhere. I've got to get out of here. Hopefully you enjoy Lincoln's birthday, and we'll see you back here tomorrow bright and early with Bishop on Air.